Well, hello, good people. I'm Dr. L. Brown.
And I'm Ricky too.
And today we're going to talk about stimming. So stimming is essentially a shortened way of saying self-stimulation, which is a characteristic of some children on the autism spectrum.
I flap my hands mostly.
Yep. So Ricky 2's stim is that he flaps his hands. Sometimes he laughs, when he, is feeling good, and sometimes it might be at times where people think that mightn't be the most appropriate time to laugh, but it's something that he needs to do. So with that, let's just talk a little bit about stimming.
Yeah.
So when you flap your hands, what do you feel?
I feel very excited.
You feel very excited?
Yeah.
And that's kind of one of the things. I didn't want to put an emotion to it, but that's kind of what I was feeling.
And sometimes when I see something or make something, sometimes I flap my hands a lot. And I do it very, very and sometimes if I really need to, I do it very violently too.
Okay. Well, we're not going to use the word violently because it has a negative connotation. We're going to say you do it excitedly. Yeah, because you're not trying to hurt anyone. When you're doing it, I can see how you can come up with that word, but I prefer a word with a more positive.
By that, I just do it like really, really fast, almost like trying to do this really quickly.
Right. So you just do it really, really fast. Yeah. Does that sound better?
Yeah.
I think I like that better. Something about that word violent that I'm just I don't know about that word. So he when he's really, really excited, he will flap his arms and his hands really, really fast. As a mother, initially, I didn't really know where to place that because I wasn't familiar with stimming. In time, I grew to appreciate it because I was like, I always knew when my baby was excited. I always knew when my child was happy. I always knew when my child felt good about himself or that I did something because he would always do that. Some other children may spin in circles, walk on their tiptoes, jump up and down, rock back and forth. And again, it's one of those things.
Oh yeah, rock back. What does that mean by rocking back and forth?
Like rock back and forth like this. You do that sometimes too. So it's all these different ways that they have to self-stimulate or soothe or make them feel good or comfortable. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Am I saying it correctly? Because again, you're the expert on autism.
Yeah, you're saying that correctly.
So with that, when you see that as a parent or you see that as a teacher, rather than trying to extinguish the behavior in the child, perhaps you can work to make awareness with other children around. Like, this child is doing what he or she needs to do to be comfortable in their space. And I think that young children, I feel that with education, young children are pretty accepting of things that are different. And even if we don't talk about it, they see it. So, give them a word for it. Let them know what's going on. That my child is on the autism spectrum and he's stimming. That's why he flaps his hands. Because if we don't do that, what happens is children will sometimes come up with
I mostly do that when I see miniaturized things among big things.
When you see miniature things, you do that?
Yeah, I see small things that look like a big thing. That's when I do that.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Brain expanded. I learned something new. One of the reasons why I am so adamant about teaching children the proper terminology, I remember when Ricky 2 was in kindergarten. No, not kindergarten, second grade. Second grade, children are growing and they're developing and they're noticing. And so while he had been with the same children from kindergarten and first grade, now that they were second grade and their friendships were becoming more cerebral, they were noticing nuances in his behavior that they might not have paid attention to before. And because the school did not offer explanation for the things that the children were seeing every day in the behaviors of my son, the children came with their own descriptors. And some of those descriptors were not kind and they certainly weren't accurate.
What do you mean we're not kind?
People use words like weird as opposed to calling stimming what it was.
Yeah.
And so I had to go to the school and I had to talk to the principal and the guidance counselor and the teacher.
Wait, so when that happened?
When you were in second grade. And it's something I don't think you really knew about because I handled it discreetly, but I wasn't really pleased with how the school handled it, because at the time they made it seem as though autism was not something appropriate to talk about. Whereas I felt, if not only as a parent, but as an educator, the children were seeing characteristics of autism. So rather than have children see this and come up with their own conclusion as to what they were seeing, just go ahead and educate them. Go ahead and tell them this is what's going on. This is what's happening, because I'm talking to my son at home. And if you're talking to your child at home and the school's talking to the children at school, then we're building a community of awareness. And they say, oh, well, Ricky too has autism, and that's why he flaps his arms, as opposed to leaving a child to come up with their own definition or their own reason behind the behaviors that they're obviously seeing in the classroom. So with that, it's beyond awareness. It moves into acceptance and just understanding that we're all different and we all move through the world differently. So when we educate ourselves as parents, we're then able to educate other people who our children come in contact with, because at the end of the day, we just want to carve a safe space for our babies. I want to be able to send my baby to school, have him have a good time, learn some good information, and come back home the whole healthy child that I sent him there to be, without me having to show up at the school being mama bear all the time. So
what do I mean by being mama bear?
Remember when you were talking with your tutor and you said sometimes you may not tell a parent what happens at school because they can come to school and escalate it? Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So when somebody is messing with my baby, I'm like, and I prefer not to be, but if I have to be mama bear, I will be, because you're my cub.
Yes.
And it's my job to what?
Yes. Keep me safe.
To keep you safe.
Yeah.
It's my job to keep you safe. So if
and because I'm older, I'm the bear now.
Oh, you're the bear now?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I really taught me at the skate park.
Oh, yeah. So essentially he's saying that I taught him to advocate for himself, that I'm not always there. So sometimes you have to speak up. Oh, so you interpret that as you being the bear. I love that.
Yeah.
So I'm mama bear, but now I have to kind of be in the cave, and he's his own bear. And so when someone's saying something that's not kind, he can say, hey, that's not kind, or hey, don't talk to me like that. So yeah, that's self-advocacy.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. But I love the way that you got that as bear. So you're the bear now. Give me your roar. I love it. So mama bear's baby bear has become his own bear. So I guess at the end of the day, we started talking about stimming and it moved into self-advocacy. So by helping my child feel comfortable with things that, like you said earlier, are just a part of your DNA, he's now learned to be his own bear. And I think that's what we all want our children to be able to stand up for themselves, to feel comfortable in their skin. So with that, education, we're here. What I know, you'll know. Stimming is something I learned about. I came to become aware. Then from awareness came acceptance. And once I accepted it, he accepted it. And now he's able to make others aware and advocate for himself. So I think that's a win-win-win-win-win. Yeah. So from our family to yours, we wish you well and know that we're here. You are not alone, and you totally got this.
You got this.
You got
I'm
this.
talking to you.
You're talking to you. Right there.
Right there. Right there.
Right there. All right. So we're going to say goodbye, because I think my bud is ready to head to the skate park now.
Yeah.
All right. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.